is said to have said the failure of some sponsors of the program to release money on time had led to the postponement. He explained that $6.3 billion was needed to implement the program for the 3-year period that it was scheduled to last, but sponsors had so far released only $2.7 million. He said the commission has submitted some documentation to the Global Environment Facility of the United States, the main sponsor of the program, and added that by the end of the year, monies would be released for the commencement of the policy. A story carried in the Daily Graphic this morning. Now, starting next academic year, the nation's premier university, the University of Ghana, Legon, will only award grade A to students who score over 80% or over. Previously, the system awarded grade A to students who scored 70% and above. We'll try to get to the University of Ghana and speak with someone from the local radio station, Radio University, tell us exactly how this decision was arrived at and how students are taking it there in the University of Ghana, Legon. It's your community watch on Focus 94.3. Let me go on with a story carried by CDFM Online today in respect of the upward review of the grading system of the University of Ghana. The decision, which was taken by the academic board of the university, is part of a revision being made to the university's academic system. The university's registrar, Mr. Joseph Mafo, is said to have said that the new grading system will start next academic year alongside some new programs that have been introduced. I noted that the old system will gradually be phased out. The university in February announced a review of its academic system, as part of which grades obtained at level 100, which were hitherto non-scoring, will now contribute to students' cumulative point average at the end of the 4-year study. The story goes on to say that in addition, logic and reasoning will become a prerequisite for every student in the university before graduation. The University of Cape Coast has since 2001 awarded grade A to students who scored 80% and above, unlike the nation's premier university, which used 70%. This is a step of the University of Ghana in the direction of the University of Cape Coast. What are the possibilities of the University of or the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technologies and other universities following? How well are students taking these or this in the University of Ghana? We'll get you details here on your Community Watch on Focus 94.3. That is your Community Watch. It's the 19th of July 2010. 1406. You type F, leave a space, and follow with your message. In a short while, I will be joined by a discussion panel to go into some of these details and issues. I already have George J here in the studio.
Giving your information with George Uni and also a space for public discussion. Community Watch, only on Focus FM. Welcome to Focus FM. You want it tomorrow? I made it today. I just don't grow tired of listening to it. Focus 11. Focus FM, exploding the universe. Community Watch. Community Watch. Community Watch. Giving your information with George Uni and also a space for public discussion. Community Watch, only on Focus FM.
So this is still your Community Watch on Focus 94.3. We go to the phone lines and speak with Mr. Emmanuel Boabeng.
Giving your information with George Uni and also a space for public discussion. Community Watch, only on Focus FM. Focus FM. Focus FM, exploding the universe.
Okay, so we're joined by Mr. Emmanuel Boabeng. He's a lecturer at the Economics Department of this university, the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, to tell us exactly how possible this is. We don't have him online, but as and when we get him, we'll put him on to tell us exactly the possibility of a 9.2% inflation rate by the end of this year. What are the implications for the country's economy? This is your Community Watch on Focus 943. George J, good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
George, how are you doing? It's been a long time anyway.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
How was the World Cup for you?
Well, before, let me say good evening to the lovely listeners of Focus 94.3 and to my MPP sympathizers in the country. Well, the World Cup is over, but I say it was all joy to me. In fact, for what our blasters, the Gallant Blasters did, in fact, I was overjoyed for their performance. And indeed, let's say, I'll say congratulations to South Africa. Okay. Indeed, they've made the whole Africa proud, and Ghana too has also made Africa proud. So I was very much happy.
Okay, for by way of introduction, George J. is the Vice President of the Tertiary Students Confederacy of the New Patriotic Party on the campus of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, TESCON NPP KNUST. He's a former Vice President of the. So who's taking over from you now?
Oforiata.
Okay, William Oforiata. Okay.
Relations officer.
Okay, Rashid Ejiaf will be joining us here in the studio, as well as Atta-Kusi Kubwa for 25 minutes to 8. You're still on your community watch on Focus 94.3. Today we'll be going into discuss the 80% upward review of the grading system of the University of Ghana, Legon. How well will this affect the how will this affect the performance of students in the university? And this has been a follow-up, or the following the step of the University of Ghana. That is not official anyway, but in the University of Cape Coast, it is required that 80%, according to a report on cdfmonline.com, before you get a grade A. How possible is it that other universities will be following suit, and what are the implications on the average student of any of these universities? This is your community watch on Focus 94.3. The Bank of Ghana has predicted an inflation rate of 9.2% by the end of this year. Is that possible? You tell us. 1406, you type of leave a space and follow with your message. 1406, type of leave a space and follow with your message. And the prime rate has been reduced from 15% to 13.5%. By way of information, prime rate is the rate at which commercial banks lend or borrow money from the central bank. The interest rate on that's in a layman's term, the interest rate on borrowing by the commercial banks from the central bank. And how well will this affect the country? In a short while, we'll discuss that on your community watch on Focus 94.3. Mr. Abansumana Bangwen is the Minister for Works and Housing, and he says that he was not, or an advice from the Attorney General on the STS Korea deal was ignored before it was taken to the Parliament of the Republic of Ghana. Discussion on this will be coming up in a short while on your community watch on Focus 94.3. Bismarck Osei Champong is the Public Relations Officer of the Tertiary Students Confederacy of the New Patriotic Party of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, TESCON NPP KNUST. Bismarck, good evening.
Yeah, Chairman, good evening.
How are you doing?
By the grace of God, we are managing our lives.
Anyway, Bismarck is with the sports crew. Bismarck, how has the World Cup been for you?
I think that the World Cup has been a positive development. I mean, on my part, and I think that the South Africans have demonstrated that yes,
okay,
the African has the capacity, I mean, to do whatever that we want to do if you are only given the opportunity.
That reminds me, Qatar is bidding for 2022. Qatar is bidding.
Yeah, Qatar is bidding for 2022.
Do you think it was time Ghana started up something like?
Well, to be very honest, I mean, before God and man, we should be realistic here. In terms of our economic development and the infrastructure development that we have in this country, I don't think we can match up to the standard of the Qatar and the South Africans.
Okay.
I mean, South Africa is being regarded as the biggest economy in Africa, while we have the North African countries. And even go to the North African countries, it is only Morocco and Egypt, to some extent Libya, but security-wise, you know, Libya, it looks like sometimes become the base of some of these terrorist groups. The Al-Qaeda, the Al-Shabaab,
okay,
and the Taliban and the stuff. So I don't think within the context of international diplomacy, Libya may be a good venue for hosting of the World Cup. But quite apart from that, in terms of infrastructure and monetary-wise, Libya will pass the test.
Okay.
But Atta, we must be very frank here. I don't know a country in West Africa here that can host the World Cup now. Even not Nigeria. Let's be realistic. Nigeria, look at the economy. But 150 million people. And look at the sort of per capita income that they have. Before this abundance of oil reserve that Nigeria have, look at the per capita income. There's nothing to write them about. Look at a small country like Botswana. Just a small country. Compare their per capita income to Nigeria, who has oil reserve in abundance. Go to Nigeria, Petroleum is very, very expensive. Petroleum product. It's very expensive in Nigeria. But you go to the Arabian countries,